Hey, how you doing there again, folks? You get a course? Brandon Wenzel, come back at you. Another offering off my sampler platter. Yes, indeed, folks. Sampler review series of videos I've been doing for a little while now. Go over there, try out food and drink items. I eat stuff and drink stuff, then, folks. I'm gonna talk about stuff. I'm gonna let you know all that you need to know about hopefully delicious stuff. That time I'm doing this, folks, I'm not gonna lie. This is kind of one of my favorite occasional treats from McDonald's. But we'll get to that. Folks, it's super simple format. I'm going to go over there and try out food and or drink items for you. Whilst I'm doing so, I'm yammering on about it for a bit. Whilst I'm doing all that, I'm inside my truck. And whilst I'm doing all that, folks, I'm wearing a super cool shirt. Folks, when I wear super cool shirts, I always like to highlight the super cool shirt. What super cool shirt am I wearing for you today, though? Happens to be my Scream at the Sky shirt, which I really love this shirt. It's a very cool design. What the hell is Scream at the Sky, though? Scream at the Sky, they are a band. I believe they were originally out of Texas. They kind of maybe still are. I know like a couple of the members moved and stuff, but they're a three-piece band that I ran into sometime in 2024. I was already familiar with their guitarist through another band that he was in. And he went over there and he hit me up about this band and was like, hey, we're a band and we do stuff and we're cool and you might like our stuff. And it turned out that I absolutely did. I was super into what I heard, and I was really fortunate that not too long after that, they decided to go on tour, and I actually got to see them perform live. It was a really great set. I loved it a lot. I actually have videos of that performance. They're on this channel, just in case maybe you want to check them out. If nothing else, I'd be more than happy to kind of point you in the right direction as far as their music goes, because I think they're absolutely incredible. But anyway, what am I trying for you today, folks? What are we doing here? Favorite thing from McDonald's, eh? Well, here's the thing. I just got through doing a review of the Boom Shamrock Shake, which is probably my actual favorite occasional treat from McDonald's. I did a comparison video against the Arby's Andy's Shake. Go watch that review if you're interested. But they do this other thing around the time of Lent, and I've always been a big fan because, well, I like the original. Boom! It's the double Filet-O-Fish. They only make this available periodically, but I like the Filet-O-Fish, man. It is, like, genuinely one of my favorite things from McDonald's. I completely admit it's, like, a nostalgia thing. I grew up eating them. It's just more of that. So let's take a look at it. Oh, I love it. It's wonderful. Fish aren't square. It looks like that. I love it, man. It's been a little while since I've had one, probably since last year. So let's get a thing for a thing. Go. Ha 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 ha! Let's give it a go, man. I mean, it's some processed fish with some American cheese and some tartar sauce. I like that a lot. Here's the thing about McDonald's, right? Is McDonald's great food? No. Obviously not. Is, however, McDonald's consistent food? That's where they get you. Because the thing is, if you're like me and you're of that generation where you grew up going to McDonald's, I'd like to think that younger generations have maybe strayed away a little bit from that, maybe made some better choices. But the thing is, man, is it's like it gets to you, because like it becomes familiar every time you go there, hopefully. You're going to get that same experience. And even though, yeah, it's not as great, there's no denying, like, I could go to Culver's and get a better fish sandwich. But there's just something about the Filet-O-Fish that for me is always, it's just a thing that I love. And I know that it's not a thing that's ever been really all that successful for McDonald's. And actually there's a historical story where, they want to come up with something for Lent, since obviously people who celebrate that, they tend to give up meat as one of the things. And it basically came down to a fish sandwich or a fried pineapple sandwich. And me being the pineapple slut that I am, it's like, You could have been. But I do really like the Filet-O-Fish. Part of why I like it so much is the tartar sauce. It's not the freshest tasting tartar sauce. It's definitely processed as shit. But it's the type of tartar sauce I like. It's got a nice tanginess to it. It's nice and strong. But at the same time, like, it's not doing anything crazy. Sometimes you get a tartar sauce where maybe one ingredient or another a little bit too prominent. Or conversely, maybe they went over there and decided to add something in to get fancy with it. And sometimes that can work. But for me, I just want the tartar sauce to taste like fucking tartar sauce. And McDonald's tartar sauce is what tartar sauce in my head is supposed to taste like. But yeah, I really do enjoy the Filet-O-Fish, man. It's consistent in its flavor. It's not like overly fishy or anything like that. Granted, it's not, the freshest tasting or anything. I mean, like, it doesn't taste not fresh. It just tastes, it's processed fish, right? But at the same time, like, fish works pretty well in that regard. If you freeze it, what have you, do what you need to do with it. And I think that's why the Filet-O-Fish works for me. Because, like, yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're getting fresh caught, what have you, blah, 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 all that good stuff. That's the best way to enjoy some seafood. But, same time, like I said, you freeze it, fry it up later on, what have you. It works pretty well with fish. And I think it works well with the Filet-O-Fish. And by having it as a double, it is just more of that fish sandwich, that McDonald's Filet-O-Fish sandwich flavor that I personally really like. The only thing it runs into a little bit of risk of is, you've thrown off the proportions of the normal Filet-O-Fish, but for me that's okay because I just want more fish. So even though, yeah, it's a little bit slightly more, this is pretty much the optimum amount of fish that I want for a Filet-O-Fish anyway. So it kind of works out even better for me because the tartar sauce and all the, the cheese and everything like that, still doing the job that it normally does, but now it's just got more fish to spread out on. And I do like it, Again, it's not the best fish sandwich you're ever going to have. It's not even the best fast food fish sandwich you could get, although I will say, I reviewed the Wendy's fish sandwich recently. You can go look up that review if you're interested. And I was not impressed. But this one, I'm down with it, man. I really am. 2 questions have to be asked, though. Would I get it again? Would I recommend it? I'm going to, and sure, caveat aside, here's the thing. Like I said, I get that it's a nostalgia thing. I get that it's partially what I grew up with. But what I will say in its defense is this. There's nothing bad about it. Like, even if you're not into McDonald's, and, yeah, you can get better food and stuff like that. I'm not going to say you can't. Aside from the consistency, typically our stuff tastes fine. People shit on it because it's fast food, but, like, it does the job that it's supposed to do. And for me, I think the Filet-O-Fish is actually one of the best examples of that. Like, it's not a bad tasting fish sandwich. It's just not as good as, like, a properly good one. And it does have that nostalgia factor for me. So, like, every time I bite into one, it transports me back to being a little kid in the passenger side seat of the car, because back in those days they weren't as strict about that shit as they are now. And, me and my dad, going on, some adventure to sell reptiles to, some fucking far-flung pet store, because that was what my dad did at that time. And, we'd stop off at McDonald's, get a Filet-O-Fish, and I was always a happy camper. Now, that said, I'm going to recommend it, but only in the sense of, like, again, I think it's actually a pretty good fast food fish sandwich. I think there are better options out there, but I also think there are a lot worse. So, maybe that's damning with faint praise. Now, that said, if you're not in McDonald's, obviously there's no reason to jump into that particular foray. But I think that if you like I think that, if you're even kind of okay with McDonald's, the double Filet-O-Fish, like I said, it only really comes around once or twice a year. I say get in while it's there if you like it. I think it's great. 5 things before I get out of here. Have yourself a great rest of your day, spectacular rest of your week, monumental rest of your month, stupendous rest of your year. Folks, over there themselves a truly double Filet-O-Fish-tastic rest of your life, because even though it only happens once in a while, it's like a lunar eclipse, Doesn't happen all that often, but when it does, you want to be part of that. Final 2 things. Number 1, try to bring some positivity into the world. It's not always possible. It is, however, always appreciated. But what you do can't do all the time. I know I can't do it all the time. Here's what you're going to do, folks. You're going to try not to be an asshole. Now, folks, it's not always the easiest thing in the world to not be an asshole. Trust me. I know it. I live it. I'm out there every day with you in it. Life can be stressful and frustrating and just bullshit sometimes, folks. And when we find ourselves in situations where we have to deal with said bullshit, it's important we go over there, whenever possible, take a step back, try to mitigate the level of assholishness in our lives, hopefully do better for ourselves and for those around us. Very final thing, folks, do the thing. Whatever the thing is for you, that's what I want you to go out and do. Folks, what do you think of the Filet-O-Fish sandwich? Am I just a crazy nostalgic nut who's, going over there and giving it too much credit? Or is it, pretty decent for what it is? I'm just saying. Let me know in the comments.